Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Hope everyone is fine and enjoying rain and fine today. Okay, so let's start in a couple of minutes. Let's wait for Vidhi, Parisha, and Laya perhaps, and then we go on. Okay, what is this? Need analysis? No, we were stuck here. Okay, so last time we were discussing why EAP is important and what are the benefits of designing English for academic purpose courses and English for specific purposes as well. So we have come far in this unit. We are supposed to start talking about how to do that. And today we will do a couple of exercise online where I would provide you a link to understand how to go about and what are the steps. Okay, so it's almost 2 minutes and I'm told that and Jaimin would have difficulty in joining the class. So I'll start and later on I'll upload the same on the YouTube so you can access lecture even if you are not present in the class. The idea is to give you the opportunity to learn at your own pace. And while you are listening, you can take notes. If you have any questions, you can come to me afterwards on either Google Classroom or WhatsApp. Okay, so yesterday we were talking about English for academic purposes and how to course design and the research aspect. We looked at the roles of the learners as well as teachers, and we wanted to understand the challenges for the practitioner as well. So one of the biggest challenge for any English language practitioner would be to design a course and select materials which are appropriate for designing the course. Okay, now we will move from that to this. How much time should be given and allotted? Now, see, it really depends on how much time you want to spend on research and course design. But this is like practicing for tournament in the net. If you play cricket, if you know the importance of practice before the final exams or final games or final tournament, you do a lot of practice. Similarly, practicing research or conducting research before going to the class will save a lot of time, because during the research process you anticipate problems and you envisage what are the solutions for those anticipated problems. So you may think that time is a very important factor, but once you do it, how to conduct a research for the English language classes, how to go for the need analysis, what type of material should I use in the class, what type of students, what level of students I'm going to get. If you do research in these areas, the help you would get in the classroom would be enormous. It will benefit from the beginning till the end of the course rather. And not only it helps the teacher, but also helps students to focus during the course, during the entire course. We'll see how focus helps students as well as learners when we come to designing course. Maybe we'll talk about a bit today if time permits. So it's really time consuming, whatever you do in terms of research, because a research may lead you to another research And that's how a teacher, an ideal teacher, should prepare the class based on research. Without research, I think going into the class would be difficult, not only for the students, but also for the teachers to focus. Now, you as a student also require a lot of time, because you are going to write essays, presentations, and number of lessons. You have to take notes, and not only students but also teachers have to assess, examine the essays, presentations, and prepare number of lessons. So for both students as well as teachers, the time factor is very crucial. So how to go about it? You should start before you actually take the first class. So ideally, what I do, that before I start taking the subject, when the subject allotment is going on, what I do is I know where I am interested in and where would I like my students to focus on. So in English language teaching paper, this one, I was interested from the beginning to teach ELT classes, and therefore I came forward and demanded that I would like to teach this subject. So first initiation is must, and then you look at this syllabus which is prescribed by the university. But within that prescription, is there any scope where I can use my creativity and innovation? Is there any space where I can bring in the research element? And when I look at the course which is given to us by the SP University, I thought that there is a lot of scope to do work in terms of research. So what I started working from the first year is to give students the tests which we will talk about, the diagnostic test, and luckily students are so enthusiastic and cooperative that they take part in those activities, and from that I can come to know what are the needs of my students. It was time consuming, but as a part and parcel of the course you can do it, and that helps me to prepare for the second year as well. And if I can extend those research results with my third year students, I can in fact give those results back into the class as a practice. So people may say it's a time consuming and you need a lot of funding for research, but in class, the classroom teaching can be supported with the classroom research, and that may advance your own knowledge as well as students' knowledge. For example, my paper is going to be published in Advanced Language and Literary Studies, published by Australia, where I talk about how to make students write. I think I talked about it, but this was time consuming. At least 3 lectures I took in order to make the students understand the importance of research. And after that, they took 7 days of workshop with me continuously. It was interesting. It was very interesting that how students react to that. They submit the assignments on time after use the research element and the importance of that writing. And they also come up with ideas that if we do like this, we can improve. So instead of just working on your own, if you can collaborate with your learners as well as other teachers. I'm thinking to collaborate with Pratik Dalwadi sir, and I don't know how we are going to do that, but we have started a dialogue with each other, that what can be done together. So since last couple of sessions, we have been sitting together and think through that what can be done to improve students' skills, how to develop competencies, so they face less challenges in future. So it will help as a teacher to me as well as to him. And if students are part and parcel of that, we would have more collaboration. See, remember one thing, in academic life, it would be very difficult to continue your journey into teaching and research alone, because teaching is not an isolated activity. It is an activity where stakeholders, that is students, are involved. Parents are involved. The university is involved. The college is involved. And therefore, as much collaboration as possible would help not only teachers, learners, but also the community. Another benefit of collaborative project is to have people on board where you can discuss the ideas. Where you are alone, you just brainstorm with your own self, and there are limitations. So when you bring on board people, they can give you ideas, suggestions, even they can critique your ideas. And from that criticism, you learn. Once you have decided what you are going to do, you can share the same thing with other members of the group who may be involved or may not be involved. There you get peer review. And this is absolutely necessary to progress. Absolutely fundamental, I would say, to learn things on and with the help of others. So if you understand the need of the collaboration, you would execute it. It's not like that we collaborate during the examination or while writing the examination. It has to be continuous process. So whenever assignment is given, if you come together as a group and then discuss that what the assignment is asking, what the essay is asking, how to give presentations, what is going to be your point of view, I'm going to do this. All this will be giving you an idea that how an assignment or essay or the presentations have been seen by others rather than your own self. So EAP courses focuses on skills such as collaboration, group discussion, and peer reviewing, where not only teacher, but also the students learn a lot. And the greatest benefit is that it reduces a time factor because you are collaborating. So a part of your work will be done, or a part of group discussions, you get lots of ideas on board, so you don't have to waste too much time. So it's an investment in time. So we have to look at that way as well. And the third thing is that when the stage is over of the collaborating studies, where group discussions and peer reviews are over, you have Google Classroom, where you have internet, where lots of material, the self-study material is available. So how can you conjunct those self-study material with your own research, with your own collaborative ideas, group discussion that you had, peer review comments, and the number of lessons your teacher has given you? How can you combine all these and try to learn from that? So if you have self-study material, self-access material, and practice it, I think there are chances that the target language inputs and outputs can be improved drastically. So time factor, we can say I have lots of work and there are lots of sessions that I have to listen to, and I have lots of presentations to make because I'm studying 7 subjects, 7 presentations, 7 assignments, 7 essays. But you can come together as a group and then work on those things. And from those, you come out with your own ideas. And that's where the time factor can be killed. Any questions on this? Okay. Now let's talk about need analysis, which is a core element for the course design on English as a academic purposes. So need, you know what need is, what the requirement is for the students. If you know, better. If you don't know, then here is need analysis, and it has a number of tools which will help you to carry out need analysis. So I know my need is to improve on writing skills. So whenever I go to my own English teacher in universities, I will talk to them. I want your help on this aspect. This aspect means my writing aspect. If I know somebody who is training in voice, then I will ask him or her to tell me something about how to improve my pronunciation. If somebody like Leah, if she reads a lot, so I might be very slow reader. So I will ask Leah that my need is to improve my reading skills. So I'll ask Leah, how can you read so much in so little time? And then she will tell me that these are the ways I am reading. These are the techniques. So from that, I understand that, okay, this is what I need to take in. This is my need, and I need to work on that aspect. When you get your marks in mathematics or any other subject, or let's say English, Gujarati, or other subjects like you study and you perform not so well, so you may ask your teacher, where should I improve? This is need analysis. Where are my errors and how should I reduce those errors? That is need analysis. But for teacher, the need analysis is how my students can get better learning experiences. How my students get more out of my classes. How my students get an experience as well as effective learning during and after the class. How should I give the assignments so that learners get maximum benefit out of it? The need analysis makes you understand this, that what are the ways in which, as a teacher, I improve on students' learning experiences. How should I motivate them? There are constraints. There are different environments in which the class is conducted. There are many obstacles. We understand that, but how to overcome that? We have seen in the last session the idea of socio-cultural background. Socio-cultural background in a university, an academic university abroad, as an international student, you have different expectations, attitudes, and expectations. So how need analysis can help you to understand that. So whenever English language practitioner designs a course, first step is to understand what are the needs of my learners. Okay, so it is a kind of technique to collect data. And once data is collected, data means data in the sense that what are the needs of my learners. So once the data is collected, you start assessing the information, analyzing the information for the benefit of the students, their interest and their expectations. Once you have an idea that what kind of need my students are having, what kind of requirements are having, the teachers would prepare a tailor-made course. For example, all the Gujarati medium students coming to ILSAS or any other college where English is the medium of instructions, the first question the parents ask us is this: how are you going to deal with the English language? Because my child has learned throughout Gujarati medium. And you know that you have also come from the same background. So the standard response is, don't worry, we will take care of it. How are you going to take care of it? The lessons that you deliver would have a mix of both. All the subject teachers do that. They try to include bilingual sessions in bilingual lectures during the first few weeks of the course. And then gradually and very silently, they turn towards English language. And by the time, students also get familiar with the language. But that not necessarily is going to improve students' English language skills. So there, English language teachers come into the picture. And then if students are still struggling, there are going to be one-to-one sessions. And this one-to-one session is actually trying to collect the data and deliver based on the data-based analysis, where you try to learn the needs, the interest and expectations, even the level of the students, that at what level the students are. So need analysis will answer the questions such as how should I deliver the course and what should I deliver the course. So let's take example of a spoken English course for the academic purposes. If the requirement of the course is to make students speak fluently in the class, the course designer will be thinking that how should I deliver this course? How much should I speak? How much should my students speak? And then what should I include in the lessons? What should students speak? What should students learn? When you say learn, you talk about English language. How much do you want to focus on English language and its skills? How much importance is given to grammar in the beginning? How much importance is given to accuracy in the beginning? So this is, in short, an idea of how you are going to conduct the need analysis. There are a number of instruments, we will talk about it. But when you start doing this need analysis, there are a number of factors that you need to consider as well. The first one is economic factor. Because when you start conducting research at a college level, let's say you have got 60 students in a first year, how much resource you require in terms of human as well as economic resources. You need a printed material. You need people to work on those questionnaires. You need to work on the tools that you have identified. So it has economic factors. The second is human resources, because all 60 students may not be present at the same time. So you need time and allocation of human beings, teachers, to conduct such need analysis. And teachers have to conduct the regular classes along with such need analysis. So how you do about that? The second is learning context. Not all your 60 students will require the kind of course that you are going to design. So how are you going to do that? Because their learning context, somebody comes from CBSE background, some comes from Gujarat board, some comes from international boards. So the learning context, besides board, is their attitudes and aptitude towards learning. So that has to be considered, and it's one of the most important factors besides human and economic factors. And the third one is institutional constraints. Institutional constraints, institution may not want that to happen because it has limited resources. It has no resources at all sometimes. So the institutional head might say that don't worry, students will pick up during the classes. So there is no need to go for additional research material, additional research into need analysis. The capacity of the institution may not permit sometimes. The vision of the institution may not permit sometimes. Although it's beneficial and institutions know it, but still institution has own limitations. So when you conduct a need analysis, one has to consider this factor as well while doing need analysis. So let's try to understand what are the tools for need analysis. That means you ask a question, how to conduct need analysis, and whatever you do are tools. It may be computer-based test, it may be paper pen based test, it may be informal chat, it may be formal chat with the group, it may be a classroom discussions, it may be questionnaire, it may be diagnostic test. There are a number of tools available for trying to understand what are the needs of my students. The first important step towards need analysis is to identify the learning style. And there are a couple of tests online available for identifying learning tests. And let's look at one of them. Meanwhile, it connects. If you have any questions so far, we can talk about it. It takes, now, there are in this test, see, each test would be different, and I would share this link with you in the Google Classroom or on WhatsApp, and you can take up the test and identify what is your learning style. Okay, so the first question is, I'm not going to read all the questions, you can do it later, but we'll see how and what kind of learning style you have later on, and we'll discuss what are the learning styles available in the field of education. So the first question is, can you see, or I think I need to share this page. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay, now you can see the screen on your mobile or laptop, that it is from educationplanner.org, and it has self-assessment for the learning style. And it's a quiz, 20 questions. So let's say, what kind of book would you like to read for fun? It's not learning, it's just fun. And you say, I like a book with lots of pictures in it. I like book with lots of words in it. A book with word searches or crossword puzzles. Now you can see the answer itself will suggest what kind of learning style it talks about. In the first one, it has pictures. In the second one, it has just words. And the third one is actually problems. Word search is a problem. Crossword is a puzzle that we have done. And I'm going to plan one. I'm actually planning one for EAP this unit. Okay, so let's say I love a book with lots of pictures in it. So it does say that I'm a visual learner. Based on this, if I select all the answers which is about visual things like pictures or graphs, or even in writing, then I am a kind of visual learner. So I will share this in the group, and you can take this quiz on your own, and later on you can inform me what kind of learner are you, and then we can take it forward from there. Okay, let's go back to our slides. Okay, so there are different learning styles. One is auditory learner, the second is kinesthetic learner, and the third is visual learner. Now, what do you mean by auditory learner? Any guesses? Hardi, Laya, Shivani, Arya, any guesses? What do you mean by auditory learner?
Sir, who learns from audio without any visualization?
That's it, Shivani, very good. So it is self-explanatory, all these words. Auditory means the person who is going to learn everything by just listening. And I remember one great example of this. In last couple of years, I heard that there was a UPSC aspirant who was actually a coolie on the railway platform, and he learned everything by listening while he was doing his job on the railway platform. You can imagine what kind of auditory skills he would have, because on a railway platform, even listening to your own voice sometimes is difficult. So how much skills, and he would have trained himself to pass the UPSC. Not only he passed, but he also came in the rank 100, maybe from, that is, I don't exactly remember what was his rank, but he is in first 100 candidates who got rank. So you can imagine the audio, the impact of audio on the learner. You just listen the song and you remember the entire song. Sometimes it happens. To somebody it happens. It depends on what kind of learner are you. And by this age, you might be knowing what kind of learner are you. The second kind of learner is visual learner. I'm a kind of visual learner. If I don't see things in front of me, I find it difficult to get the idea. So I always use tools to get a visual impact on my mind. And then audio and then kinesthetic learner is learning style helps me. Sometimes I do things and combination of this, but majority of my learning comes from visual things. So you can see on my slides, or I use lots of pictures, lots of graphs, and that's where I learn from. And some people like my daughter, she is learning from doing things. She learns to move around. She can't sit at one place and visualize things and listen things. She does both, but she needs to move around the place. She needs to use her motor skills. She needs to do things with her hands. She needs to use her legs during the learning environment. To some, now these three learning styles are different, and you may find your students coming from these backgrounds. They might have a combination of these things. Some students might be only auditory learners, some might be only visual, some might be only kinesthetics. But there are chances that there is a combination of everything into it. Somebody would, a very, what is the word, chanchal, very hyper kind of person would have all these three, audio, visual, and kinesthetic learning styles in him. So he would be, or she would be learning from listening, visualing, and doing things. And most of the classroom activities should be should include all these learning styles in the classroom. Otherwise, somebody might be left out. So when you plan a course, it should be kept in mind that not only audio, visual, and kinesthetic should be merged, but it should be given as a package, not just one type of learning should occur. Now, there are different types of intelligence, and I think we'll stop here after a discussion on this. When I say different types of intelligence, I'm talking again, different kinds of learning styles. See, there are people who would be very good at visual or spatial, as you can see on the learning style, and they would be good at painting, arts, crafts, doing things with their hand. Imagination is so powerful with them, and they would like to paint. If you give them Shakespeare's sonnet number 116, they would paint it, and they would love to do that. And somebody who is good at language would analyze the aspects of the language in sonnet 116. So because sonnet 116 is all about love, you might get an idea of how to use that sonnet for selling, what is that day when a girl or boy proposes each other, Valentine's Day. If you are good at entrepreneur, if you think of business ideas all the time, you would use sonnet 116 to sell Valentine cards, that these are the things that you should do. Interpersonal, you talk to your friends in terms of, and you try to get things from them. So you are good at interpersonal communication, so one-to-one communication. And there are logical and mathematical abilities as well. So you have different, you can say almost how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, yes, 8 types of intelligence. So these 8 types of intelligence can be fed into this learning styles, and you will get a clear idea that learning styles are in conjunctions with multiple intelligence that we possess. So as a teacher for English language, one has to be very considerate to take into consideration the learning styles as well as intelligence that the students are having. You may find it difficult if a person is always into the mathematics. How are you going to tackle the student for the language class, especially Gujarati language? He may understood the importance of English language, but native language, first language, it's very difficult for those teachers to bring such students into the classroom. Those with logical abilities would find the language too much easier. And that's where the teacher's role comes, and they should be providing their students with language problems that you create for the learners. And these learning styles with multiple intelligence will not only help you as a teacher, but also helps your students to take as much things from the class as you have designed the course based on the learning styles and keeping multiple intelligence in mind. Now, you can see there are different ways of looking at multiple intelligence as well. On the one hand, on the left-hand side, you will see 8. On the other hand, right-hand side bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 types of multiple intelligence. What is added is musical intelligence. Now, when we talked about songs and games in English language classroom, we understood the importance of how music can bring newness, innovation to the classroom. I still remember my chemistry teacher and even biology teacher when they used to combine the formulas, even chemistry teacher, when they would give us the entire formulas of chemistry in songs and musical notations, and we would sing after the class, and that's how we remember. And there are teachers on, you can search it on YouTube, that they will use language entirely differently to make students learn, and there is musicality because everybody learns differently and one has to understand. As a teacher, if you can bring in all those 8 or 9 types of multiple intelligence, combine it together with learning styles, I think the first step towards need analysis is completed. So that's how you start to understand what kind of learners I have in my classroom and what kind of intelligence is more in one or more of your students. That will allow you to take your course direction in a specific way. Any questions so far? Because we have less than 1 minute and I don't want to go on the next slide because it is going to take more time than I expect. So yes, that's ELT class. I think you can see Harsh, your senior. He has just come out of your his exam. You can say hi to him if you want to speak to him. Okay. Fine. Okay. So as usual, he always comes and disturbs my class. Okay. So any questions from anybody? I would be happy to answer that because the class is going to end in 1 minute or less. So
Sir,
yes.
sir, naturalist intelligence, like what is it?
Yeah, naturalist. Sorry, I forgot to talk about that. Naturalist intelligence, that you are good with nature. When you go out and learn something. I remember my Sanskrit theatre classes when Professor Vijay Trivedi, he used to take us to garden to teach Shakuntala, and he would